guys. Welcome to another episode of Chulas Pero Mulas. Thank you so much for taking a few minutes out of your lives to listen to I'm going to call it a conversation today. A conversation with myself, by myself, but a conversation that I think is probably happening a lot in many people's homes. So I kind of wanted to put my 2 cents into it. So that is the topic of today, to just talk about like what's going on, and express some of my feelings, and with any luck, get some people to come on my show and express their views and opinions as well. So, de nuevo, muchísimas gracias. So yeah, so it was kind of interesting because last cuando fue on the 25th, which is on Saturday. I honestly, like, I feel like when I woke up like on Sunday, I feel like I was like in another, like, living like a different reality. It was like surreal. Um and it was kind of like freaky at the same time, but obviously this is where, the reality that we're living in right now. And I think it's time that we start having some of these conversations that I had originally started, created this podcast for, to speak just, about that experience that shaped us into the people that we became. And I feel that it's so relevant now because this is kind of like, I see it as a wake up call for all of us, to kind of see what the Mexican American experience had, the impact it had in so many of us. I think that we are in the situation that we're in right now because in my opinion, I believe that it has to do with like an identity crisis within our people. I feel that the identity crisis comes when we come from a culture that we don't practice, because we don't live in our culture. We're living in a different country. And so, and I think there is something that happens to us that distorts, that identity. And I think, and in my opinion, like, I've always commended like the people that held on, like, to their roots, like held on to their culture. Like, I fucking admired that so much. Like, for example, like my husband's family, his tias, his tios, his cousins, like, they kept, since I mean, I've been married to Cruz, for almost 30 years, and and I've known his family, all my life. And so this has been since like the beginning. Like, they brought their culture with them and they held on to it, so tight, that it was passed down to the generations. And what where there are also, and obviously they're like in the third generation like us, and I can see it in their kids. Like, I see it in their kids. Like, they're very aware of their culture. They know where they come from. They speak Spanish. Like, the parents are teaching them Spanish. Um, comen comida mexicana, les gustan las fiestas, viven like la cultura mexicana, just the way, that their parents and grandparents have lived it. And that's fucking amazing. Like, they're only one example of other families that have done it. Because I think that in order to do that, I think that also takes work. It takes work, because I think it's easier just to kind of fall into, well, this is not how they do it. This isn't how they do it in America and the US. That's not how they do it here. So we're gonna do it this other way, the way they do it. And so I think just adapting and the assimilation process, I think that did something to a lot of us. And I know, and I can speak for myself, that I fucking hadn't, did I ever have an identity crisis? Like, I remember specific moments in time where, like I felt that I was like more white. Like I felt that I was accepted more by them. Like I felt like I fit into mostly with their culture. Like I was choosing for some reason because it was more appealing to me because, like I don't know, like I question it now, because it's kind of hard for me to see myself like, like feeling like that or have, having that sentiment for for a group of people that that were my blood. Like they weren't my lineage, but I guess in a way they, they might have been. But like I feel that, so I know that um that part of life happens because it happened to me. It happened to me in this country. And it happened to me because we didn't have the the discipline that, like, people like in my husband's family had to work on their culture, to preserve their culture. My parents, like, I feel like they were just so busy that there was no time for that. It was just like whatever. Just like choose. So then we ended up choosing based on the people that we hung out with. And as we got older, like I remember, I kind of like wanted to hang out with more white people, but then they would like say things about, like, Mexican people, like make jokes, and then and then it made me feel weird about it, but I never stood up, for me, or for any, like, of my people, whatever. I never did that because I didn't think it was acceptable. And so I went through a lot of situations, that lead me to believe that I had like this, like, identity crisis. So it's just kind of interesting to see, like, a lot of this unfolding now, because I think the reason why, so many, and not getting into politics really, but I feel that this whole thing with with politics, um and having so many of our own people, vote the way they did, I think it has to do with an identity crisis. I believe it does. It does. Because, we're not identifying with our culture. Like, um, in order for us to be able to, to help each other, we have to, like, form tribes, and that's how we do it. That's how we've survived, you know? And so now it's causing a division amongst our own people. We're being divided because, because I believe that there's some people that are going through like an identity crisis. It's more like, yeah, like I know I'm Mexican, but I live in this country, and this is my country. And like, it's almost like these are my people, but really, they're not our people. And and um and I think it's happening. And I think that's why, like, there has to be like this awareness of it, so that we can find our identity, so we can, so we know where we come from, and we don't fear returning to that place if that needs to happen, you know? And so I've seen it, like, in, like, even in my home with my dad, like, he's having to relive like a lot of this trauma, a lot of the trauma that had to do with, when he first immigrated. And having conversations with him and talking to him about it, I can see that he's reliving a lot of it, so it's like, it's really hard to see. It's like really, really hard to see that part, um because now it's real. Like, the stories that he used to tell me are real. Like, they're real, and that was like over 40 years ago. And it's really hard for me to understand how his stories could be real 40 years later. Like, I don't know. It's hard. It's just hard, really, really hard for me to wrap my head around it. And so, and it's just, I feel like it's like a really, really important time for us to, like, understand where, like, where we originate from, that understand, like, everything, like, por qué no nos quitaron los estados que nos quitaron, like, what happened, like I feel like this is the time to educate ourselves about, like, everything that has led to this moment, Like it's important for us to understand the history of it, because if not, it's going to keep repeating. It just keeps it continues. It's like this vicious cycle, you know? So I feel like understanding and learning about that part of it is like so fucking important. It's so fucking important because it also helps us to debate when we need to debate, and to have educated conversations with people that might not, be as tolerant. And maybe we need to become the tolerant people now, you know? And as hard as it seems, because that's not in our personality, because that's not who we are, because we've been beat down so much that it's just like the way we became, like that's not going to be an excuse. I believe something's happening where we need to become the tolerant people, and we need to understand like where all this originates from. It from an ugly place, from a place of racism, from a place of a bigotry, from a really dark place. And so in order for us to kind of, I think, unite, I think it's just important that we understand like that part of like everything, like I said, in history. I think it's just fucking important. And so I know that like things are changing really fast, and I don't know, like even to not think about it, it's hard not to think about, because how can you not? It's like right in our faces, and it's just a matter of time before we start seeing it, in our wallets, and we're gonna start feeling it. And I think it might be scary for a lot of us. I know that I'm as zen as I claim to be, and as impartial or neutral as I really want to be. It's been like tough for me, and my body's been feeling it, and I'm just like, what the heck, like what's going on with me. I'm not processing this the way I'm supposed to be processing it. So so I know that like it's happening to like a lot of people, like we're going to a lot of the Mexican American people. I believe that we're going through very similar feelings, and we're going through really similar um we have very similar questions, and we're probably sharing like very similar points of views. And I don't know, like I feel like it's a time where we can come together, and come together in solidarity. Like, toda esa bullshit about like dividing, and oh, you're classified as Chicano, you're classified as Mexican American, you're classified as whatever. At the end of the day, like we're all Mexican people. We come from the same place, and this place did something to us that divided us. You know, and it was done for survival. It for we adapted to survive. And so now we're just like at a different point where like we divided to survive, that we forgot that we're one in the end, that we're just one. And so and so I think this is probably like the way I look at it. It's honestly like I think this is just like this this point in time where it's important for us, to see each other, like brothers and sisters. Like this is a time, like I think it's a time that is forcing us to see things that, we never had to see. And now it's just like in our face, and we got to look at it, and we got to feel it, and we got to do something about it, because division amongst our people is like probably the worst thing that we can do. And so yeah, I mean, it I don't know, I mean, if it's so much, there's just like so much. I don't even know where to start when it comes to to my opinion. But I tend to be a positive person. I want to believe that I bring forth, peace and and serenity to the people that I come across with. And I definitely, don't want to spread any panic or anything like that. That would be awful. And so all I'm trying to do is understand like our experience as Mexican Americans, our parents' experience, everything again, like I mentioned earlier, it's basically everything that has led, to this moment. And I don't know, like I feel like everybody, if we all just told our stories and I feel like we would be like we would be seen like more fucking human, I feel. Because sometimes it feels dehumanizing. It's like dehumanizing. It's dehumanizing. And it makes me angry. Like I'm angry that I feel dehumanized. And I feel dehumanized for my parents, and I feel dehumanized for all the immigrants that like we've already, I feel like it's never enough. Like we're just never gonna be good enough. And yet our people fight so hard and work so hard. Like everybody works so hard for this country. They give their lives to this country because they believe that it was the best country in the world. And I've heard it from so many of the boomer the boomer immigrants. Like I've heard it from them how they have so much loyalty and so much gratitude for this country. Like they're so grateful. And it makes me sad. And it makes me sad that people aren't like, instead of being recognized and appreciated, I feel that it's more like we're just like there's always going to be something. It just feels like we're never good enough. And it's exhausting to see. I think I'm just exhausted of seeing it. Like I take responsibility, for everything that has to do with me, including my thoughts. And I know that by being honest and sharing and saying like I once I may have once believed in what is happening now, like that it was the right thing. I may have at one time believed it. And so I don't, and because I know what happened and I know what that was like, I don't um like I'm not like I don't have any like ill feelings against like the people that have those feelings. I don't like, I'm not mad at them, or I don't hate anybody or anything. Like even people like, a lot of the people that all of us know, that went the other way. Um I just kind of feel like I'm not mad. I just I just want them to see like the reality of it, because this is just the reality of it, and maybe this, something like this is gonna help a lot of people just become aware of what was already there. It's always been there. We just like chose not to see it. So by not looking at it, like we don't do anything about it, but it's always been there. Like it's always been there, you know. So yeah, it's sad. It's sad. I I consider like el otro día estaba pensando, when I think of myself, like what, like how do I see myself, like, now, like today, and and I feel like that part hasn't changed because it took, this part of my evolution to understand that part. So that hasn't changed. Like I'm still a Chicana. That's still what I am. My story is very true, and it shaped me into the person that I am today. And I'm not embarrassed of it. I'm not embarrassed of it. I just had to learn a lot of things along the way, and part of that growth had to do with finding myself, finding my identity, and finding out what I am. Like I'm Mexican. I am Mexican, and I was raised in the United States. I was raised here. I have lived in the United States all my life. I don't know any other country. And so my feelings for the US have also been very real. Like I love this country because it's the country that I was raised in. It's the country that I've lived in my whole life. I don't know Mexico because I didn't live there, but I know that I come from there. And so um like I'm aware of that. I'm so aware of that fact. But I'm also aware that um like the US has let me down. It let me down. It's not what I believed it was. And I don't believe I don't love it the same way I did at one time, because I thought that it was really clear that, you know, the Mexican people came here to work and to build what became, the best, what is known to be as the best country in the world. And I thought I was living in the best country of the world. I always thought that I was living in the best country of the world because that's what my dad said, because that's what my grandpa said, because all the Mexican most of the Mexican people said that they left their country because they wanted to go to a better country where they can have, a better life. So I always thought that this was better because everybody sacrificed their lives to come here. This must be better. It must be. Why wouldn't it? People wouldn't risk their lives to come here if it wasn't better. Everybody wanted to come here. Everybody wants to come here. It has to be better. And I grew up thinking that. And so it makes me sad because it was like it broke my image. Like like it broke my heart. I feel like I'm brokenhearted. And and it makes me sad, and it just makes me sad. It makes me sad for a bunch of different reasons. Probably some of the same reasons that it makes you all sad about also. So so yeah, those are my thoughts, and that is my opinion about, what's happening right now. I do believe that there will come a time when we will be seen, as equal. I mean, we're not less than anybody. We're all equal. We're all human beings, and we're all the same. Nobody's better than anybody. Like nobody's better than anybody. And none of us should be treating anybody better or less than anybody. Like we're all the same. We're all the same. We all deserve the same level of respect. We all deserve to be seen. We deserve to be heard. We all deserve it. Like it's like our human right. Just to be humans. That's a human right. Like it's awful. It's awful. It's awful that my dad's like stories like are coming true. It's awful. And I don't know. I mean, I don't. I think we've got a long way to go, and I think a lot of things are going to change, and I think things are going to get rough. But I'm also like really proud, and I'm really grateful that we have options, that we all have options, and the options that's at one point seemed impossible, like are now possible. And that makes me happy. Like, to learn that part, that we have options, that like we've already gone through enough shit. We've already done so much. We've already lost enough of our people in wars. We've already lost enough, um enough people to violence. Like we've already it's already been a lot. Like, we don't need to sacrifice anymore. Like, we deserve to live in peace. Like, we deserve peace. Like, and I also feel that that's a human right. Like, we deserve peace. We deserved peace. If we can find peace somewhere else, and we deserve the opportunity to go there and find peace. It's awful, but I think we're gonna get through it. I believe that this is just a moment in time. We're gonna look back at it one day, and understand, the reason for it. And I don't know. I think it's a time for us to look at ourselves, and and kind of reflect, like do a lot of like self-reflection, and and understand like like who we are. Like, if we're having like a problem with our like with our identity, well, then this is a time to figure out why we're having that identity problem. Like, this is a time, especially if any of you guys have young children. This is like, it's like so important. Like, this is such an important time to teach our kids about what is going on, and why this is going on, and why this is happening, and why things are gonna have why things need to change. Why learning to speak Spanish is gonna become like really important now, and practicing is gonna be like really important, and you practice it, and now your children are gonna be bilingual, and now you're gonna teach your kids a lot more about the Mexican culture, and like educate them about where they came from. And I think this is like such a teachable moment, because instead of looking at it, in every which negative way, then we can also like look at it in a bunch of positive ways. And that's one of the ways that I see it. It's like, these are teachable moments. These are the moments that are gonna force us to look at ourselves. And if we weren't taught, then we need to learn so we can teach our kids. Like, we need to teach them, because that's how cultures are lost. And why there's no reason for us to lose our culture. That's ours. And if we choose to keep it, then yeah, it's our right to keep it and practice it, you know? And I think it's important to teach that to our kids. Just my opinion. I don't have any young kids, and when I speak about this, I actually speak from experience, because I didn't teach my daughters Spanish the way I should have. I taught them Spanglish, and I taught them, and it was a very mucho type of Spanglish also, where it was mostly English and just a few Spanish words. And so, regretting it doesn't do anything. Like, that doesn't do anything for me. I just see it, and I understand it. And I understand, like, the benefits that I removed from their path. Like, I removed, something that would have been beneficial for them in the long run. I removed it. And so, I hindered them in different areas, because now they weren't fluent like I was. And so Had I seen it, had I understood it at that point, then obviously I would have made the changes that I needed to make, but I didn't, and now I see, you know, the consequence, that being bilingual means money. You speak two languages, you can make more money than if you speak one. You learn three languages, you'll make a little bit more money also. And so the more languages we speak, the better it is. Like we're not, that's a benefit for them. So, teaching them their native language is amazing. And it's amazing so they can keep it and they could teach, their children, and we can continue that, throughout generations. That part is important also. Preserving our everything that has to do with our food also, and that part of our culture. At least expose them enough to it so they can learn, so they can know if this is the kind of food that they want to eat. Um, and so I know that a lot of us already, have done a lot of these things. And my daughters are our first generations, but our first generations in paper, but really, I mean, vienen siendo second generation, right? They're second generation Mexican American women. So I can see the difference. Like I can see the difference in the way I raised them. And again, not done with malice, but had I paid a little bit more attention, like I would have caught those things, and I would have made sure that, they had what they needed in order to, to be a lot, to reach the levels of success that, that they wanted to reach. And I think for most of us that, that's what we're looking for when it comes to raising our kids, to give them the best, to give them all the tools so they can have the best opportunities in life. And so, I always looked at it that way when I was raising them, but I didn't catch that part. Somehow I didn't catch it. I didn't catch the importance of it. And yeah, now I can see it, but when it comes to the younger people, I think it's important. Like it's important if you have little kids, like teach them. And if you don't practice your Spanish, then practice it, and now you're practicing it with your kids. Like don't lose it. It's so fucking important. It's so fucking important. We created this, the el Spanglish. We created it. I think it was out of necessity, right? That's kind of how we learn how to communicate. And that's very indicative of Mexican Americans que hablemos Spanglish. It's become part of this subculture that we had to live, that we created, or the hybrid culture that we created. So, I mean, is it gonna nos va a valer if any of us move to Mexico, and possibly, maybe, I mean, if enough of us move to Mexico, yeah, I get it, it could be. But if we learn how to speak the kind of Spanish that they speak in Mexico, then that's even better. I think I think it's just gonna help, our kids, and not go through all that confusion and not go through all that anxiety because they don't know, how to order something, or, ask for something because they don't know the words. And so that also helps our kids. That's also just going to help them. And again, it's going to help us practice also. I know that when my parents go to Mexico y duran like a while, um, when they come back, like I know I catch myself like forgetting some of the words because I'm not practicing in it, because no lo está practicando like daily, especially if they're gone for like, for a couple of months. And so, and I catch that about me. I'm like, if I don't practice it, it doesn't sound, like I'm as fluent. And so it's the same, like if you don't practice it at home, then you don't, like, you start forgetting words, or like ya sé cómo se dice, and then you just replace it, and then we do that. It's just, I think that's just kind of how we grew up doing it. And so it's just kind of interesting how no se habla ni inglés ni español. It's like mucho from all over the place, you know? So I don't know. I kind of feel like that would be, important also. If we're going to teach them how to speak Spanish, then it should be, good enough that they can have a conversation with a Mexican person or somebody that speaks only Spanish, without having to replace it with an English word. It may be you're gonna see that it's important in the future. I can see the importance of it now, so that's the only reason why I mention it. But it's things like that that I think that are important. Understanding about also about todo lo que tiene que ver uh the Mexican culture, like the norms in the Mexican culture also, porque siento que eso no se practica aquí, como decir don, como decir señora, como decir, no llamarlos by their first name, porque esas todavía son como cosas que tienen que ver con, what is it called, with our cultural etiquette. Entonces, por eso muchos de nosotros, y yo, and I include myself in one of those people that I've always kind of felt like no soy ni de aquí ni de allá porque no me hallaba, you know? No me hallaba. I learned so much. I learned fucking so much, and and I'm so grateful for that, from my husband's family. I learned so much about the Mexican culture from them. De muchas cosas, de la tradición con los chilenos, and, con la Virgen de Guadalupe. And I learned a bunch of different things with them that I didn't practice it at home. Like at home, we didn't do stuff like that. Like nobody, like no, las fiestas no eran así. They were just, I don't know, I guess they were just kind of just a lot of drinking, but nobody was practicing, like, I don't know, like any of the important stuff, I feel. I don't know, or maybe it's just a lot of trauma and I just don't remember anymore, but I just kind of feel like, with my husband's family, with Cruz's family, ahí es donde aprendí, like, most of the things that I know now about, the Mexican culture, especially the Mexican culture in the southern part of Mexico. And it's beautiful. And when I visited Guerrero, I was in love with Guerrero. I was in love with it, you know? And do I see myself moving there? Fuck yeah. It's beautiful. And then most important of all, it's like peaceful. Like it it almost feels like time goes by like slower. And I don't know, and I feel like you could just like enjoy, like you can breathe, like even breathing feels different. I don't even know how to describe it. It's just fucking amazing. It's just fucking amazing. And I encourage like everybody, if you guys, haven't visited Mexico, vayan a visitar. Like teach your kids. This is a time. Like this is a time, to preserve and to continue the culture that like our parents came from, that our ancestors, our grandparents and great grandparents and our ancestors, like where we come from, like our lineage, our struggle. Like this is such a teachable time. Such a teachable time. And so instead of looking at the negative stuff, I tend to focus on the positive. So I think it's also important. I also think that it's important to work on our spiritual side. El otro estaba pensando, qué chinga, cuando estaba pensando de identification, how do I identify, and I was like thinking, I'm a fucking spiritual Chicana. That's what I am. I'm a spiritual Chicana. I believe in everything that has to do with what I can't see it, but I can feel it. Everything that has to do with the universe and the cosmos, I believe in all that. I believe in all that, and that doesn't fit into the Mexican culture. Maybe it's a lot more accepted now, But I feel that that's what I am. I'm a spiritual Chicana. So my message, yeah, they have to do with our people, and they have to do with, you know, it's the learning who we are as people and everything that has to do with that. But I also believe in being a good person, and I also believe in having a kind heart. And I believe in just being a kind person all the time, like all the time. And I feel that that is universal. That isn't like, eso no tiene que ver with any culture or any ethnicity. That has to do with just us as people, you know? And I think in the end, yes, all this is hard, and it's really sad, and it's really painful to see and all that, but I look at it like I tend to see it in a bigger scale. Like the bigger scale is what's happening with us, you know, what's happening with us as people, like as a human, like as a species. What's happening with us? Like what's happening with us? You know, why are we identifying, you know, why are we still being identified by the color of our skin? Like that doesn't make sense anymore. Like that means that we're not evolving as human beings. Like I feel like it has to do with something in human evolution. And so I look at it like we have we haven't developed the type of awareness that we need in order to have empathy, and in order to see ourselves as flawed human beings, and that we can see our flawed, that we're flawed human beings, so then we can start working on the things that we need to work on to become a better human being. And because if you're a shitty human being, then you can become a decent human being now. And I think in the end, like that's more important, because that's for everybody. That doesn't have, like I said, it has nothing to do with color. It has to do just with your heart. And so, you know, yeah, even though my message is always going to be about, you know, the Mexican American experience, because that's you know what I've always aimed for. It also has to do with my spiritual side, which is a lot bigger than that. It's so much bigger than that. And so my heart doesn't only hurt for our people, my heart hurts for humanity. Like it's sad. That is sad. Like that is like at a different level, you know? And so like spreading that message, also like spreading a message of kindness, and spreading a message of love, like self-love. Like my message is about self-love, because if we loved each other, if we loved ourselves, we wouldn't, you know, treat anybody the way we treat people. Like it starts with us. We treat people the way we treat ourselves. And that's the only, I can't explain it any other way. Like that gives us a lot to go off of. Like I treat people the way I treat myself. And that's how you can measure the level, where are you as a human being? Like like have you evolved spiritually? Like where are you in your evolution? And so that is my message, and that is what I practice, and that is what I teach. Um, you know, like it starts with us. Like everything starts with us. It's not about anybody, like anybody else. We always focus on trying to fix everybody else, and trying to you know, to make sure that everybody else is doing well, so it doesn't affect me. So it doesn't I don't want to see suffering, because then I suffer. And we always, you know, somehow turn it around to be about somebody else, but in the end it's always about us. It's like us. You know, if we're suffering, we're going to make sure that other people are suffering. If we hate ourselves, we're going to make sure that we hate other people. If we have no self-respect, we're going to not respect anybody else. All I mean, I can't say, there's no other way of saying it. We treat people the way we treat ourselves. And so, for me, like that's how I know, like that I have evolved, because I love myself and I treat everybody the way I treat myself, with love and kindness and respect, with empathy. And I treat people the same way. Like I I can't be unkind to anybody, because that's not in my personality. Like being unkind to somebody does I can't imagine it, because that's not how I live my life anymore. Once I did, but I don't anymore. And so that is a way that I measure my evolution. But with that comes a lot of, having high levels of empathy, and that's also painful. When you live in a world where there's so much hate, because you feel it. Like I feel it. I feel it in my body. I feel it in my heart. And so, yeah, so the message today was going to be about that. About I guess my announcement that I that I now realize that I'm a spiritual Chicana. And also to encourage everybody, let's start talking about our stories. Like there is no like better time. There is no better time. Our stories are important. The Mexican American experience is not the easiest experience. It's not the easiest. And in dissecting it, I think it's pretty difficult. And part of it has to do, the psychological part of it for me has to do with that part that has to do with that identity crisis. And and so and so I feel like this is a time to talk about that. Like this, there is no better time. Like let's start getting our stories out there. Let's let's have that awareness that it's important, that now it's become important. That now, like, si tenías vergüenza, like, ¿vergüenza de qué? Like, ¿de qué nos va a dar vergüenza? No, no tenemos absolutamente nada de tener, like, like, embarrassed of what? What am I embarrassed of? That I was poor, that I was abused, that I was, that I was doing child labor. Like, what part of any of that is embarrassing? Like, it's a struggle. It was a struggle, to reach the American dream. We all did it. We all participated. Us as kids participated in that, and we followed that because most of us followed our parents' lead. And our parents' lead was always the fucking American dream, and we lived under the same assumption, doing the same fucking thing that they did. And so it affected us as well. And it just had a different effect on us. Like it did something different to us than it did to our parents. And so fucking talking about it and understanding the differences is like amazing. If we can have those type of conversations, like that's fucking amazing to open the dialogue. And we should like it's there's so many of us. Like this is like the like just the start of it. Like there's so many of us. There's so many of us. And our stories, all our fucking stories are amazing. Everybody has some amazing stories. Because in order for this country to be amazing and to have stayed amazing for so long, it took us to make it amazing. It wouldn't be amazing without us. So, anyways, we're fucking amazing. Anyway, so I encourage anybody again. I send me message me TikTok. Right now I only have a TikTok, so you guys can send me a message in my to my TikTok account. It's chulas pero mula 714, or mándenme un mensaje. That's probably your best bet. You can also send, if you're listening on Spotify, you can also leave a comment there, and then I can get back to you guys. So, thank you so much again for taking a few minutes out of your lives. I hope that I have encouraged, at least one person. Like, if I can at least encourage one person to come and talk about their stories, like I did my job. So, I'm really grateful. Thank you guys so much, and I'll see you guys next time.